are talking about the Russian science fiction action movie, The Blackout. Now, obviously, this being a Russian movie, I'm going to probably butcher some of these names here, but it's directed by Igor Baranov and Natalia Heckner. Not too bad, I don't think. And this is a pretty epic alien invasion movie, which is extremely violent and has mega high production value, or at least it seems it. So what is the story? Well, it basically focuses on a small group of survivors in this area which seems to be unaffected by this global blackout that has happened. And within this blackout, essentially everyone has either died or becomes kind of like mindless slaves to this unseen menace. And there's only what is called the Circle of Light, which falls over parts of Russia, that seems to be unaffected. And there, the remaining humans, which I believe they say is 0.01% of humanity, or something along the lines of that. That's all that is left of humanity. And they are trying to obviously find out what is going on. They don't know what is happening outside of their small areas, basically. And as the movie progresses, we learn that this is the work of an alien threat that has got some pretty deep background, I have to say. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but suffice it to say, we have a lot of mythology in this movie, and a lot of this is kind of tied back to religion, evolution, so it's got some pretty kind of like heady themes here. So if you are even though this is a very heavy action movie, there are some cerebral science fiction elements here. And I quite like the, for example, the explanation why the aliens look similar to us and things like that. That's all I'll kind of say on it. If you've ever read Marvel Comics and you've read the Kree and how the humans are created, it's similar-ish to that to a certain degree. And anyway, so we have a small group of human survivors that come across an unlikely ally to try and stave off the mindless, kind of almost zombie-like masses of people that are infected by this kind of like this alien influence that are trying to wipe them out, the remaining kind of human resistance. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So let's talk about what works first of all. And I think that the key thing here is the incredibly high production value. As I said, it's a Russian movie. So when you watch this, you're thinking, man, this is really, really well produced and it has a really kind of epic scale to it. Had this been an American movie with American actors and stuff, this would be a cinema-worthy release, I would argue. Because the scale of it and the production value, the special effects are top-notch. If you like military porn, this is your movie, because there is a whole lot of futuristic military paraphernalia and equipment and vehicles and stuff. The actual movie takes place in at some point in the future, and it's like a cyberpunk sort of setting, even before the aliens start. So we have cool kind of Blade Runner-esque visuals even before the threat of the kind of the blackout and the alien menace. So that looks great on its own. And we have this this kind of threat, and it's very well directed action, extremely violent. I mean, this has got to be one of the highest body count movies I've seen. Lots of kind of blood squibs, lots of real impact with the kind of where bullets hit you and things like this, and then it's kind of fell. So, and an intriguing story, I have to say. I mean, like I've said, this movie at its core is kind of an action science fiction movie, but it does have, probably about halfway through the movie, we are kind of introduced to the next layer of mythology within this film. And I've got to say, I really enjoyed the kind of the heady themes that this film introduced us to, and the kind of like a bit of commentary on human nature and things like this, and how humans are a certain way and stuff like that, and a real jaw-dropping revelation, I feel. And again, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the kind of what has led to the human existence, shall we say, a jaw-dropping revelation that I thought was great, and especially prevalent in today's COVID-19 situation. Again, that's all I want to say on it. It's got, now the version being a Russian film, obviously it's spoken in Russian. The version I watched was dubbed. So depending on what you obviously like, I got to be honest with you, the dubbing wasn't brilliant, and some of the acting came across as kind of cheesy. But I can't really comment on, you know, the actual actors, because obviously they're speaking and they're kind of like, they're obviously native Russian, but I'm listening to a dubbed version. So, you know, the acting's a little hard to judge, but certainly from the kind of like the expressions and the kind of the visual acting and stuff, I've got to say the acting looked pretty good. But the dubbing version, the dubbing soundtrack wasn't brilliant, if I'm honest. Do I have any other negatives? I think the main one for me, it's probably a little long. When it's all said and done, even though there are some great twists in it, the plot isn't that complicated. And I've got to say, at over 2 hours, it's just a little bit long. And I have to say, it starts to drag, and you think it's coming to an end, and it just carries on going. So I think it could have been just a little bit shorter. I also think there's maybe a few too many characters. Now, admittedly, by the end, a lot of these are kind of whittled down. But we are introduced to a lot of characters, and you kind of, maybe it's the disconnect because obviously everyone sounds very samey because of the dub and stuff, but you struggle to remember, you forget almost like certain characters even exist. And then you kind of go back to them, oh yeah, I forgot about these characters. I just think maybe there's kind of too many characters, almost. And obviously, and I appreciate they want to have a body count, they want to have stakes, but it ends up being a little bit diluted. The only other thing I would say, there's a character turn at the end of the movie, which I don't think was properly set up. That's all I'm going to say on that one. And effects-wise, like I said, the effects are fantastic. There's one or two kind of digital effects that maybe don't look quite convincing, but, you know, 99% of them look absolutely fantastic, I have to say. And there are some excellent choreographed action sequences here as well. I feel the movie wants to have a sequel. It certainly leaves the movie open to a certain degree. I can't say, you know, the ending maybe is up for debate. Again, it comes to a kind of a moral quandary. Without sort of spoiling anything for you, yeah, it's a little bit of a kind of a grey area what you would have done, I suppose. But nonetheless, you do feel like, damn, what's going to happen next? And I guess we have to wonder if there ever is a sequel, or if it's just left up to decide. So this is a really, really good science fiction movie. Like I say, an action movie at its heart, but it does have elements there that will kind of like make you think, oh, that's kind of like a neat science fiction idea. And so I quite enjoyed that. Realistic violence, hard-hitting violence as well. So if you're more on the horror side, there is plenty of, you know, military-style kind of blood and guts and stuff like that, that I think will maybe satisfy maybe more people more interested in kind of the horror side of stuff. But it is at its heart just a kind of a good old shoot 'em up movie, hampered maybe by a little bit of the issues that I've mentioned. And it doesn't help that I don't think the English dub is particularly brilliant, if I'm honest. But a really enjoyable movie. Definitely check it out. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Well worth a watch. Absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. So, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.